So Visual Studio Code Dev Containers allows you to configure your Docker containers via JSON file. So you can use this in Codespaces, you can use this with VS Code in general. So the dev container JSON file is expected in the root of your project, and there's an example of a very simple one. Let's go look at some common configurations so you can quickly understand how this file works. Usually you want to provide a remote image. So this is the one that is, I think, being used for a base image for Microsoft and a lot of the features that you can add to it. You can build your own images by supplying the Docker file in your project and supply it some arguments. There are features that allow you to quickly install certain programs. We did this earlier, I think in our quick and dirty Git crash course. But the idea is that we can install these features so we can get quickly moving. And this is specifically for the common base image. If you want to create your own features, you totally could, but it has to be for your image. You can also configure custom programs. You'd usually put that in your Docker file. You could also use the post create command to run a shell script. So there's a lot of ways to do post configuration or try to do something very similar. And as I said, you can create your own features to quickly install on top of your own base images. It is a lot of work to make features though. Settings allow you to configure the settings of VS Code. So that is a block that you can put in there. And you can see we also have one for extensions, so it knows what to install next time. We can tell what ports to always forward, which is really useful if you're running web servers. We have command flags, or we can pass command flags to Docker run with the run args. So that's something that might be useful for you. If you need to pass environment variables, you set that in the container env. You can mount a bunch of locations and then map the files and folders. So we'll take a quick look here at some of the options. So we mount a local directory, mount a Docker volume for persistent storage, mount the Docker socket, mount a specific file, mount a host directory as a read-only. Okay. The command that runs after creation is the post create command. You can set the default username that VS Code should use when connecting to the container. You could use the post create command to install a bunch of programs on top of your base container, and that's pretty much it. So there is obviously a lot that goes in with these dev containers. I find them really hard to configure. I don't want to spend too much time doing them, and the exam's not going to ask you about this stuff, but for practicality, we should know it because if we're working with Codespaces or VS Code, it's definitely something you're going to come across. But there you go.